Tonight on KGW News, a mother comes to the defense of her kids.
Ever spit on my kids again?
When a man allegedly spits on them and makes racist threats.
Because this isn't what we should be having to deal with in 2024.
Plus, neighbors desperate for help dealing with abandoned homes filled with squatters.
We're so burned out at this point.
The city's new plan to take over the most problematic properties, and later.
I remember part of the run, and then the next thing I remember, I woke up in the hospital.
A tigered woman who collapsed while out jogging thanks the heroes who came to her rescue. Good evening, everyone. We begin at 11 with a mother's plea for help to find the man accused of assaulting her and her 2 children. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm China Green. Police are calling the attack a bias crime. The victims are Black, and the youngest child was just 11. Catherine Cook talked with their mother tonight. Catherine.
She wants the public's help to find the suspect. Her kids got him on video. They also recorded a confrontation between him and their mother as she stepped in to protect them.
Unfortunately, racism is real.
For Kanika Collier, that painful truth has never felt more real than it does now.
I don't get why a child cannot walk down the street and their skin is not a threat.
Police say it all goes back to December 29th. Kanika was at work near Southeast 27th and Burnside. She let her kids, a 16-year-old daughter and then 11-year-old son, walk to Starbucks to get a snack. Soon after that, they called her, frantic, about this man.
Mom, some homeless man is not well. He just spit on me and said that he hates our kind.
Yelled that he hates their kind and wish they would die, and he spit on my daughter. Once your life is shaken like that, how do you put the pieces back together?
Kanika ran outside to help her kids. By then, the suspect had crossed the street to a bus stop.
The gentleman got up from the bus stop and started speed walking, like sprint walking towards us.
Kanika says the man had a cup of unknown liquid and threw it on her and her kids.
We were drenched in it. So at that moment, I just kind of blacked out. I saw red, I dropped my phone, my keys in my hand, and I punched him in his face a couple of times.
And Kanika sent him this verbal message as captured on her kid's phone.
Ever spit on my kids again or throw anything at me, I will kill you. You can pick on an adult, but don't you ever.
To see what happened, it was just a lot.
Phoebe Lombard works in the neighborhood. Her heart goes out to Kanika and her family.
And you hear about these things happening, but to physically see it and to physically see, hate happening right in front of you, it hurts.
And I have my son and my daughter who inquire about what's wrong with my skin tone, for that to happen. And even though you give them affirmations and you support their confidence, you still feel like it's not enough.
Kanika is in touch with detectives about the case. They're asking anyone who recognizes this man to call police.
Recognize my face. You come near my kids again, I will end your life.
It makes me angry because this isn't what we should be having to deal with in 2024. I'm sorry, just shouldn't.
Kanika says she is not without compassion for those experiencing homelessness or mental illness, but she says there's a problem that's not being addressed when things like this happen, especially to kids. She's calling on city officials to recognize that problem and do more to address it. Back to you.
Yeah, she has a right to be angry and all of those things. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate you bringing us that story. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. A man has pleaded guilty in a hate crime attack on a Black food truck owner. Today, Daniel Warren admitted to bias crime and assault charges. In June of last year, Warren yelled racial slurs and attacked Dorrell Preston, who owns Laurel's Chicken Shack. Warren ran off but was arrested about 3 weeks later. He'll be sentenced later this month.
The victim of a shooting in the Lentz neighborhood has now been identified. Police say 85-year-old Jeanette Becraft was killed yesterday morning at a home on Southeast 100th. One person inside was detained after a standoff with police. The suspect has not been publicly identified yet. We understand that will happen once they are formally charged.
And a teenager has admitted to setting multiple fires in Portland's Mount Tabor neighborhood during peak wildfire season. Today, now 19-year-old Malik Harris pleaded guilty to arson. He admitted to starting fires that damaged Grace Lutheran Church, Mount Tabor Park, and Harrison Park in 2022. Harris told Portland police he was, quote, just being stupid. when he and 2 others started those fires. They also pleaded guilty. Harris was sentenced to community service and probation.
The city of Portland is looking to foreclose on 6 vacant properties that have caused problems, with neighbors describing living next to criminal activity, squatters, and drug use. In total, the property owners owe more than $700,000 in unpaid fees for code violations and nuisance complaints. But the city can't reach them, and we went to 3 of those properties, one on Southeast Martin Street. Neighbors there say that they have been dealing with this for years, and it is about time the city steps in.
Well, the house up the street has been a horrible experience for all the neighbors. There's still random people that show up there, and it terrifies me.
It's really hard on the neighborhood, and it just feels like you're screaming into a void.
If City Council approves the foreclosure, Oregon law requires them to give the property owner 1 year to reclaim it before they take over.
Now to an update on the Hillsborough Hops efforts to build their dream stadium, with Major League Baseball's deadline to secure funding a little over a month away. Now, the team has gotten private funding and commitments from the city and county. They are now hoping the state will chip in with an additional $15 million. So this week, 9 state lawmakers signed a letter to keep the minor league team in Oregon. They say the money would likely come from the capital budget rather than from a bill. Their letter also says Oregon will lose millions of dollars in income tax revenue if the team goes away. An economic analysis shows the state would recoup the investment within 6.5 years. That's left Hops management cautiously optimistic.
Everyone realizes that the hops are important to the community, so that's good. A lot of it comes down to prioritizing funding.
Now, while some state lawmakers are pushing for the money, tax code advocates say the state should not give in. They say many of the jobs created are not high quality, and overall, it's poor economic development.
You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 11, she suddenly collapsed in the middle of a run. What a Tiger woman, who has since recovered, told the 3 people who saved her life.
Plus, something is missing from Portland's smallest park, and the birds are wondering where to go.
Well, you know what was missing in Portland today? Sunshine, but not in the Cascades. There's Mount Hood. Look at this big cloud over White River Canyon, kind of moving around. There was sunshine up there. More on the way tomorrow, even for Portland. For now, here's the ski report.